just you get to choose. Right? Like here's the scenario. The environment gives us something which can be perceived as negative, can be perceived as not working, can be perceived as problematic. The world's ending. But we get to choose to see it like that, or we get to choose to see it as an opportunity.
So clearly that it's my responsibility now to do that for other people. If I have information and, other people's success is my success and vice versa.
Because you know what? Like, the challenges or the roadblocks are the journey themselves.
There's no big things. It's all little things compounding on top of each other.
This week on a special edition of Coach's Corner, Truth Seekers with Coach Nick Davies, we talk about holding the standard. What does it mean to hold the standard? This conversation this week was particularly applicable as I'm feeling a bit under the weather and not my normal self with my energy levels. We talk about the value of compound interest, and we even set a challenge for each other by the end of the episode. We hope you watch and enjoy this week's episode of Truth Seekers as we hold the standard. Coach Nick Davies. Welcome everybody to another special edition of Truth Seeker. We have Coach's Corner with Coach Nick Davies in the house. What's up, Coach?
What's up? Special edition yet again. If everything is special, is anything special?
That's a great question. I feel like it's special, because we do this once a week. It's special once a week to me.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's all down to perspective. It's all down to, if you've got to draw the differentiators, you've got to draw the line, you've got to create the energy for it, for sure. But I think it's special to me.
Special to me too, Coach. But before we get too sappy on everybody here, let's dive into something. I was thinking about this today because, I don't know if you can hear my voice. It feels like I got, some sort of a little bug, a little tickle, some sort of something that I'm battling. I don't feel myself. I don't feel at high energy, but we use this term a lot of holding the standard or setting the standard or creating the standard. And like anything, like the cliches that we just, we say a lot, they come from a source of importance. I was wondering if you could articulate that out of the gate here and talk about that a little bit, because I've seen that shining through for me this week as I feel this way. And I just want to make sure that, the concept is understood, and then let's play with it a little bit.
What's discipline? Discipline is doing the things, trading off now the person that you want, or the things that you want right now for the person that you want, or the things that you want, person you want to become, or the things you want in the future. I think that's what discipline is, and knowing that, like, if you do this now, then the person that you become tomorrow or next week or next year is going to be really thankful for that person that you were today. And for me, holding the standard is not letting yourself off the hook, and in fact expanding the standard, so always moving it up and not letting yourself off the hook. So that philosophy of constant never-ending improvement, but also comes with a high level of compassion. And that's really important. It's been really important for me to remember that side always, because if you're just on the other side of holding the standard, not letting yourself off the hook, you end up beating yourself up, and you don't want to do that. That doesn't go anywhere. But I also find that, so if you hold the standard when you don't want to, or when it's most challenging, then it tends to be the most valuable. Like any time you get resistance, that tends to be the place where you should go. I've found that for clients and some of the newer coaches here, when they're in a stretch, they're pushing themselves in their business or a certain part of their life, what also seems to happen is that something else in their life is also into some sort of more chaotic place. One of our newer coaches focusing on going through the pre-contract process here, and also had a problem in his house. His house got flooded and had to stay in a hotel. It's like, I'm doing this now. This happened. But so on the face of it, it seems like that wouldn't be helpful. But I might posit that if you've got a comfort to go back to, then it's easier to stay there and not force yourself back in that uncomfortable part and then out of that comfort zone. But if you're always uncomfortable, no matter where you go, you can only move forward. So there's some value in that. Not long term, but for especially things in your life you're pushing yourself to. It's like if you've got low energy about what you're doing because you're sick, then you also want to know, like, is it the right thing? Do I want to give myself that compassion? But also to know that there's going to be some value in it. You wouldn't want to do it for like 4 months straight.
Yeah. Well, so I wrote down one thing you said there. Well, a couple of things, but the one that sticks out the most is if you hold the standard when you don't want to, that's where you get the most value.
Yeah.
And I like your definition of discipline, to where you're almost like a bit of a self-sacrifice in the short term for like your future self to thank you. And I'm thinking of that, like, you know, I held the high standard with the Zoom calls I showed up for and the clients I showed up for this week. And that would have been a challenge had I been feeling well. And the fact that I did it when I'm not feeling my best, like imagine what next week when I am feeling better, the energy that I can tap into, like no longer, I feel the standard, like when I say set or hold the standard, it's like I'm living up to it, but I almost think I'm changing the baseline of it when I do this, because next week, if I show up to the Zoom calls with the same energy I had this week, I'm actually letting myself down or my clients down. It elevates it to a whole new level. Yep. And that's not something that I thought was going to happen, or that I even thought about until now. But it's very clear. It's very clear.
Yeah, that's the word I wrote down as well. Baseline. Yeah, you change what's possible. It's like, oh, if I can do this when I'm sick, it's like, well, now I've created a new bottom, like a new baseline. It's like, okay, I can only go up from this, and it's nuts. I'd love to be able to go back a couple of years and look at the level of delivery and my coaching versus now, because it's difficult to see when you're in it, but and you can see some, but it's probably not as stark. If you're about to go back and listen to a recorded call, watch a recorded call, and then come back and go now, like, wow, repetition is the mother of skill, and there's been a whole lot of reps since then. That's for sure.
Yeah. So by that token, you wonder how much you get set back by having that gap. So say I were to take one of these days off or the week off, that repetition, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a loss for the repetition, but maybe it is. It's the momentum that's all gone. You don't have that iteration maybe that you get by remaining consistent with it. It's kind of like the alcohol fast that we go through, right? Or any monthly challenges. It's different to be able to go to the end of the month and say I went 30 days without alcohol, then hey, I went 16, then I drank a couple, then I went another 10. Like it doesn't have the same effect when it's not consecutive.
Lose the compound. Like, first rule of compound interest is don't break compound interest. It kind of reminds me of our last coach's corner about the immersive experience. Like you've got to create enough momentum that there's a residual effect when you're not there. And so after a while, it does allow for that, but yeah, if you break it up, it's not the same thing. You're not seeing the level that you can get to. And if you're not consistent with that, I think it's really powerful. It's really important to think about. And it's easy to forget. Like if you've done something for a long time, you forget. I was working with a client on a presentation this week. He's going to do a presentation on the impact of sending mail, right, rather than email, and how people tend to open their mail but don't open their email. And 15 years ago it was the other way around, because it was exciting, it was new. It's like, but now you get way more email than you do like physical mail through the post, through mail. And I thought that was interesting. So but we're working on that, and it's seeing him go through that and the reps to do that. For me, it's so clear, but for him, it's like, oh wow, like he said he forgot how much he knows about this because he just does it every day, and that's also powerful to see. So any time where we feel uncomfortable, the environment's changed a little bit, we get to play in that space, we're going to learn something because it's different.
Just so I'm clear, so what did you mean by he's in it a lot, or what does that mean?
So in his company, they send a lot of direct mail.
Oh, gotcha. And he doesn't open it? Is that what you're saying?
No, so they send a lot of direct mail, and he's been doing that for a long time. So he knows a lot of nuances and how to do that to get good effects.
Gotcha.
He forgot how much he knows because he just does it all the time. So actually presenting on it and creating a way of articulating it's like, oh shit, I do know a lot of stuff. It's easy to forget.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we could each grab a takeaway of something that we would like to get better on or better at, that might feel new or uncomfortable to us now. And as long as we remain consistent with it, like maybe we just have like a little agreement here to check back in with this in a couple months or something like that. I don't know if anything comes to mind right away, because for me it does not. So I'm hoping you can help me create this idea here. But just to prove that it works, right? And also, like, we already know that it works, but to practice it, it'll be fun in a certain way. Does anything come to mind for you?
Well, I will say, first of all, what comes to mind immediately is when we were at for everyone listening and watching, we did a Provost coach on-site experience, whatever you want to call it, last week with a bunch of us coaches, and part of that was the polar plunge, if you could call it that, jumping in the ocean at a very early hour in the morning, pretty damn cold. One of the coaches was like, I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that. And I said to him, where's the resistance? And that was enough to completely break the resistance, because he couldn't find a good answer for it. It's like that, because the very fact that there was a resistance, he probably got more value out of it than some other people that were diving straight in. Because there was something there he had to break through, he had to change to get there. So for me, really, it's the intention of doing things that you don't want to do. And I don't mean do stupid stuff, right? It's not an invitation to be an idiot, right? But it's doing the things that you could excuse yourself not to do.
Yeah. So, and one of the things that came back from that onsite with the intentions of is shaping up my morning routine. It's something that we've talked about. We haven't talked about it in a while, actually, but just our habits in the morning and what we do to get out in front of the day. And there's a number of things that I wanted to incorporate. So maybe that could be a commitment that I make to you and to the audience here. But that is, let me think of one of the things that I can remain consistent with no matter what. It's probably the meditation. I ran a challenge at the end of the last year that was a bit of the extreme version of 60 minutes of meditation on a daily basis. And as soon as that ended, it's like it was almost like the permission for me to stop that, or that I didn't have to continue with it. And I've noticed a difference in my presence and my patience. And I get it in here or there. And it seems like it's the first thing to go in my morning routine when I'm a little short on time. So I would like to make the commitment to rekindle that, at least for the next month, probably more, but all the way through till February 20th, I make the commitment to you that we'll meditate every morning for at least a half hour.
Okay, I'm writing it down, of course, because I'm being a good coach. February the 20th, every day, 7 days a week, 30 minutes of meditation. Did I get that right?
Yes, in the morning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the morning. Awesome stuff, Coach. I would like to talk about this a little bit, if it's okay, because the morning stuff is a very interesting place to play for me. I completely agree that what you do first thing in the morning is really what precipitates through the day, and that is such an important factor. Content wise, it changes for me, and I don't have a hard and fast the rule of what it is, but it seems to me that the most important thing for me overall is exercise of some sort. But I wanted to play with the early morning wake time part of it. And at which point is it diminishing returns for trade-off with sleep? And again, it's different for everyone, but I have resistance around that. And everyone's has different factors and things that happen in their life as well, like kids, for instance. Let me tell you, last night, Willow decided that, well, she didn't have a nap at school. So then she came home and slept till like 8, and then she was up until 11, and then she was up until 12:30, and then she slept until she slept until 5. And then I went to the gym, and I was at the gym for 5 minutes and realized I need to come back and just help her stay awake so Christine can get some sleep, stay asleep. So Christine can get some sleep. So I'm doing a garage workout instead. It's like, why didn't I just stay there? I think I was just delirious. I digress, but different factors. But like, where do you see the payoff and the balance?
Yeah. So I read, I think it was a tweet the other day that said, an hour before midnight is worth 2 hours after midnight. And I thought of that, was like, oh, that means I got to go to bed early. Like if I go to bed at 11 and I get 8 hours of sleep, it's much different than if I go to bed at 9 and I get 8 hours of sleep. I don't know what there is, if there's anything to that, but I certainly think so. I think, so the point I'm making is that I still want to get in my quality sleep, but if I'm getting up at 4 or 4:30, that means a 9 o'clock bedtime. And, I might initially have resistance to that, but I think a lot of my evening time is like, I don't know. I don't know what I would do that would be worth more than the stuff I would do in my morning routine. So I see it just, I'd have to accommodate for that on the other end. And I wouldn't want to give up that sleep time, that seven hours of sleep, heaven forbid 8. Like I haven't had a week full of 8 hours sleep, I don't think, in my life. I don't even know what that would feel like, but I don't even know if I would want that, to be honest with you. But anyways, to your point, yeah, I think that's originally why I started to give way the little bit that I did to my morning routine that did work. It was a 4:15 wake up and all these different things. And the sleep was the one thing that was, now I was getting energy from the routine, right? But at a certain point, there was that trade-off. And I think my solution, at least for this, is to get it on the other side.
So that, the first version of it, how consistent were you with the early sleep?
Not as consistent. It got to the point where something had to give. But I kept up with it for a good 2 to 3 months because I liked the results so much from the meditation and the reading and the writing and affirmations and like all the good stuff that I was stacking consistently. It was rewarding. It was great. I was just tired.
Which is the trade-off, right? This is exactly the question I'm asking. Because what I've found, you said that meditation tends to go first, and my meditation practice has only ever really been 15 minutes max in a couple of different ways. So I'm super intrigued to go to that longer part. I just haven't made that priority at any time. I get the value of it, of the meditation for sure. But so when I had it set up in a consistent manner, meditation would come after my workout, because I found if I did my meditation first, I'd just fall asleep because I just woken up. That would just put me back to sleep again. So I'd end up having like 5, 7 to 10 minutes of extra sleep just through the meditation. So it was like that was cool because I was asleep and that was fine. But there's something that didn't quite work for me. I guess the point is that it's always different, and whatever works is what you should do anyway. But it's always cool to get the little wrinkles and changes, for sure. I mean, I was in bed at 8:30 last night.
Yeah. All right. So how about for you, Coach? Is there something that you can commit to, something, a new skill that you wanted to learn, or something that you can implement that you can do regularly every day? Put you on the spot here today.
No, there's not right now. And I'll tell you why, and I'm being honest here, is because my mornings are so
inconsistent
with baby being so young and being flexible, that for me right now, the win is the wake up and the execution of any sort of workout, because I get a small amount of time to do that, and 2 or 3 wake ups in a night as it is right now, like I know where I am is valuable. What I'm doing is valuable for me, and I need to keep it in that space. So if anything, my commitment is to double down on where I am right now and know that that's the right thing, and give myself that grace. Have I had it better before? Do I want to change it? Yeah, for sure. Like I'd like to add some more wrinkles and do some different things, some workout challenges, some meditation challenges. But the way things right now, I'm looking for minimum effective dose, and that's it, man. Got to get it done.
Well, I think that speaks to the first half of this conversation with holding the standard. You got to believe at a certain point that Willow's going to start sleeping in at some point, or sleeping through the night, right? And you holding the standard of the workouts, like think of how good your workouts are going to be when you get a full night's rest, or 2 in a row, heaven forbid, or more than that.
Yeah.
So that's you holding the standard to the workouts. Even though you're not feeling your best, you're still showing up and doing those things.
Exactly. Appreciate that for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I need your help holding me accountable over the next month. Whoever else wants to join, has been thinking about meditating or wants to take it to the next level, please join me. A month straight of meditation in the morning.
Sounds good, coach. And maybe we can do this. Maybe we can come and check in. Like what are your distinctions for next week? And maybe we could think about this as a theme for a coach's corner over the next month. What is it that you can articulate and share that are real points of distinction that would encourage others to leverage more? And I'm open to be convinced that I should be expanding my standard here.
Okay, I love it. Coach, thanks for joining us. Another special edition of Coach's Corner. We'll see you next time.
Special edition indeed.
Thank you for watching another episode of Truth Seekers. We appreciate your interaction. So please comment, like, subscribe to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want more, check out some of our links. Links to our masterclass, The Achiever's Mindset, and come join our LinkedIn group. And what do you want to see more of? Remember, we're here to share the simple secrets of successful. So help us do that. What do you want to see? What do you want to see more of? Thanks, and see you again next time.